The U.S. government is refuting testimony given to Congress yesterday about the lack of U.S. money getting to Christians and other religious minorities in Iraq. During a hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday, Stephen Rasche, legal counsel for the Chaldean Catholic Archdiocese of Erbil in Iraq, testified beside me on the plight of Christians in the region. He told lawmakers that the lack of funding is causing the church to make excruciating decisions, either returning Christians to towns without water and power or encouraging them to leave. And joining me now is the man who made those assertions, Stephen Rasche. Wonderful to have you here on set.
Thanks for having me.
Last time I saw you, besides yesterday, was in Iraq, where you were my guide, taking me through, showing me all of the areas there. And you spend most of your time helping Christians there. You said yesterday the U.S. and UN money is not reaching those Christians. How do you know that?
Well, because we're there on the ground and we see what's happening every day. We live there, we work there. We don't need a report to tell us what we're not receiving. It's pretty self-evident to us.
The government said, a U.S. official said, we reached out to the White House and to USAID, that's the agency in charge of international development. He calls you a liar, essentially. He says, quote, any assertion that the U.S. is not providing support to vulnerable communities in Iraq is false. It is also false to claim the United States has not provided assistance that reaches Christian and other minority communities in Iraq. Are you lying?
Well, certainly not. I think it's a little bit of a broad statement from the speaker. I would say first that I wasn't the only speaker yesterday that came back with that conclusion. Former Congressman Frank Wolf went on a fact-finding mission to in northern Iraq in August and came back with exactly the same conclusion, which he testified to. Secondly, I would say I have no doubt, and we have no doubt that the people inside the government, whether it's state, AID, UN, wherever, have reports to show that they're allocating funds and doing work. We don't deny that. Our argument has been you need to be checking to see how these dollars are actually being applied on the ground, because we don't see the effect of that.
Let's talk about funding. You're on the Nineveh Reconstruction Committee helping to rebuild the towns. When we reached out to them to say, where are these funds? Can you ensure that they are reaching the most vulnerable of Iraq? This is what they said. Since fiscal year 2014, the government provided nearly $1.7 billion to address humanitarian needs of Iraqis, including religious minorities. USAID Administrator Mark Green has announced another $264 million in assistance. That happened on September 20th, they said. And the U.S. has provided $115 million, with more pledged to the UNDP funding facility for stabilization. Let's start with that $1.7 billion.
Yeah, it's a big number, which makes it even more appalling that we're unable to see its effects. This is not a difficult equation. If that work was being done, people would see it, and we don't see it. And this is what we're telling the people. Stop focusing on what you think is happening on this end in Washington, D.C., and start listening to the priests and the bishops and the lay workers who are on the ground in these towns, and the people themselves who are telling you we are not seeing these benefits.
Thank you so much for joining me, Steve Rasche. Wonderful to have you back.
Thank you.